I'm Emmalou Penrod, and our topic today is, what are you saying to yourself? If you missed Bruce's presentation on Monday, I highly recommend you catch the recording. He gave an amazing, stellar presentation on the 4 C's. And I liked it so much that I'm going to base my presentation on that and just kind of build on that. And I'm not going to take the time to go through the whole thing. Just watch his presentation for that. But I do want to share, do want to review just a little bit. Whoops. Just a little bit from his. Whoops. I have to get used to not double clicking. I'm a baby boomer. So on Monday, Bruce talked about the 4 C's: commitment, courage, capabilities, and confidence. And as he showed this diagram and talked about it, I saw a wheel, like a wagon wheel, and it creates a cycle. So he explained how you have a commitment, you make a commitment, and that leads to going out of your comfort zone, acting in spite of fear. When you do that, you find out you are capable, you actually accomplish something. That accomplishment leads to confidence, and then the cycle begins to repeat, and you make an even larger commitment. And on the topic of commitment, I want to share, this is a book I recommend, The Promise to the One by Jason Hewlett. And we make a lot of commitments, but probably the most important commitments we make are to ourselves. These are the promises, these are the commitments that enable us to move out of our comfort zone, find the courage, and move our personal development forward. In his book, Jason shares an interesting story. So he is a dog owner, and he's made the promise that when he takes his dog for a walk, he's going to clean up after his dog. But it is a winter evening. It's after dark. It's cold. It's wet. He's walking through slushy snow. He's been walking for 45 minutes, waiting for his dog to do his business. And finally, it happens. And then he realizes he didn't bring his baggie. And he's looking around frantically for a leaf, a scrap of paper, a twig, something to clean up after his dog. He's 15 minutes from his home. And as they're walking back to his home, he keeps looking for something he can use to clean up after his dog. And there's nothing. He gets home, grabs a baggie, and goes right back out and cleans up after his dog. And that may seem like a small thing, but he writes this statement: this is the kind of person we strive to be in business, at home, in life, whether anyone knows of our actions or not. The person who has just kept a promise to do what he knows is right. He also shares this quote: when a promise is broken, there is usually a mess left behind. So I love that book because he talks about the value of keeping those promises you make to yourself. He even provides a concrete outline you can use to assess yourself and improve. So this is a very effective cycle we can follow to grow, of making a commitment, pushing through our fears, accomplishing, gaining confidence, and then that confidence allows us to make an even greater commitment and do more than we thought we could do, commit to more than we thought we could. What I want to talk about is something that interferes with the progress of this wheel, like the brakes on your car. And you can push the brake just enough to slow the car down, or you can hit the brake and totally stop the car. And the brake for the 4 C's is our negative self-talk. Now, self-talk is that chatter in our heads. It's what we say to ourselves. It's when we want to make that commitment, we want to move forward, and we tell ourselves, you can't do that. Or we want to push through our fears, but that voice persuades us to give in to the fears. Or we do make some success, we do enjoy some progress, but we minimize it. Oh, that was no big deal. And so we're not able to grow our confidence. We tend to be very hard on ourselves. Part of that is good because we want to grow, we want to become better, and that can be very useful. But sometimes we can go through a day and complete 20 tasks very successfully, but we make one mistake. And at the end of the day, what do we spend most of our time thinking about? Some of us spend our time remembering that one mistake, berating ourselves for it, and not even allowing ourselves to feel any joy or happiness about the 20 things that we did correctly. Each one of us in our subconscious mind has a trophy room. This is a room where we keep our most cherished memories. It's like we build trophy cases. And when something happens, we put a trophy that will remind us of that event.
On a scale of 1 to 5, would you give yourself a 5 on achieving what you want in life? If your answer is anything less than a 5, right now, I have something awesome for you. Achieving your goals and living your life at a 5 isn't easy. Most people aren't prepared to focus, stay disciplined, and do the everyday work that is necessary to achieve amazing results. But since you're watching this, then I'm guessing that you're not one of those people. And this is an opportunity that will change your life. Give to Get is a global program that brings together world-class coaching and combines it with empowering masterminds and networking opportunities. We provide 5-star guidance for the price of a cup of coffee a day. To find out more, click on the link in the description of this coaching session.
And we go there frequently and we look at the trophy and we remember the event and we remember how it made us feel. The unfortunate thing is, quite often, these trophies are to our past failures. Maybe you built a big trophy to that time you made a complete fool of yourself in your high school class, or the real estate investment you made that went south. I want you to think about this. What's in your trophy room? Are the memories you're revisiting your failures or your successes? Are you remembering those events in your life that moved you forward or the ones that held you back? Sometimes we maximize our failures and minimize our accomplishments. On Monday, Bruce was talking about a car salesman he worked with who when Bruce first met him, he was selling about 5 cars a month and felt like that was all he could do. And then he started going through the 4 C's, making a commitment to sell more than 5. And then he sold more than that. If he had, when he got to the accomplishment phase, the capabilities, if he had thought, well, I sold 8, but it was probably a fluke, I don't think that will happen again, he would not have gone on to the confidence phase. And he would not have been able to keep going around that circle, going through the 4 C's, increasing his goal, going from 5 cars a month to 8 to 9 to 12. And then I think he's currently at 20. So this is one way that our self-talk can really interfere. And I want to share another book. This is The Self-Talk Solution by Shad Helmstetter. And he tells a story about his childhood. He grew up out in the country on a farm. And near their house was an old abandoned house, some property that no one lived there. And there were rumors that this house was haunted and that there was actually a treasure, a chest full of treasure buried somewhere on that property. So Shad and his brothers and the cousin got really excited about the idea of this buried treasure just on neighboring property. They let their parents know about it, but their dad strictly forbade them from going on the other property and digging. The owner was an older man. He didn't live there, but he didn't want anyone on his property. He definitely didn't want children digging on his property. So they were strictly forbidden to do that. And being children, of course, they did. They would find ways to sneak over there and scout it out. They spent the better part of the summer analyzing where the treasure could possibly be hidden and how they could dig it up and not be detected. So one of them, usually the youngest member, was assigned as a lookout. And there was a signal. When that signal was given, they were to stop immediately and get out of there. That meant someone was coming. So eventually they found this stand of 3 trees. And they decided this looked like the most likely marker if you were going to bury treasure. And they began digging. And eventually their shovels hit a hard surface. And it was a chest. They dug it out. They were examining it. They could see that there was a lock on this chest. They were analyzing how they could break that lock. When the signal was given, their father had spotted them. He was on his way. They quickly put the chest back in the ground and covered it up so that by the time their father got there, there was still a hole in the ground. And one of them immediately created a story about digging a goldfish pond, which of course their father didn't believe. They were punished and required to promise they would never go on that property again. The summer ended. They grew up. Years passed. As an adult, he was in that area in a rented car, about to head back to the airport to go back to the city, when he decided to drive by that old property. The old house had been torn down, a new house was built. A man was sitting there on the porch, and he could see that this stand of 3 trees was still there, but a gazebo had been built over the spot where the chest was buried. He stopped and chatted with the man for a while, didn't tell him about the chest, left, and never knew what was inside the chest. And this is what he wrote about that experience. And he made a very important analogy. We all have treasures in our lives. Some of us accept them and use them, but most of us leave the best of ourselves buried somewhere, waiting to be discovered. Who knows what could be in that chest? For many of us, what we leave behind is the best of us, the best of what we could have been. I still wish I had broken the lock on that treasure chest way back then. Someday I may. But what we did then as children is what many of us do throughout our entire adult lives. We get a glimpse of the treasures that are inside ourselves. But at the moment when we could break the lock, something makes us cover it back up, leaving behind what could have been. So, what is the solution for this self-talk, this negative self-talk that can be the brake, that can just put the brake on moving through those 4 C's that help us in our journey? Well, the first step is always awareness. We need to acknowledge and be aware of any negative self-talk. I recommend that you spend a day paying attention. Sometimes it's so automatic we don't even think about it. But pay attention to what you say when you drop something. Do you immediately think, oh, I'm so clumsy? If you forget something, do you find yourself thinking that you're stupid or absent-minded? Do you find yourself remembering some painful thing someone said 5 years ago? Are you going to this trophy room of past hurts and failures? Pay attention to those thoughts and ideas, that chatter in your head. Maybe even write it down just to know what it is. And then obviously, nature abhors a vacuum. You need to replace it. You need to replace it with something more positive. That's why this book was written. He wrote it he takes several areas of your life that you may struggle with coming up with something positive to say. And he provides several positive affirmations that you can use. I just want to turn to the section on financial freedom, because money is quite often a challenge for us. And this is what he has to say. The process of improving your earnings and building financial freedom starts with several conditions. First, agree with yourself that it is okay to earn what you would truly like to earn, and accept the fact that you deserve to earn it. Second, agree with yourself that money or the benefits it can create is good, worthwhile, and a natural result of your efforts. Remember the word efforts. 3, agree with yourself that you are willing to work for what you get. There is almost never any long-term financial reward without long-term commitment and hard work. Overnight millionaire stories are usually just that, stories, and few of them reveal the final chapter. And just a comment here, a lot of us are aware of the law of manifestation or The Secret. I read about it in Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. And some people get the wrong idea, and they may believe if I just think positive thoughts, if I just think about it, I'll make it happen. But as Bruce pointed out Monday, and as he's pointing out in his book, it comes with hard work. We can think about it, open our minds, fill them with positive self-talk, but we also need to work to make it happen. In the Christian world, it's expressed as pray as though everything depends on God, and work as though everything depends on you. It takes that combination of faith or belief and work to get where we want to go. Next thing is take time to celebrate your successes, just like the car salesman in Bruce's story. A lot of people like to have some gesture like yes or yay or something they do that cements in their mind, I have just accomplished something. I feel good about it. I feel confident. I can move forward. Something that helps you create a trophy to remember and help propel you through that cycle of the 4 C's. So what do we do with our failures? Well, the best thing to do with our failures is to learn from them. I like the expression, some days you win, some days you learn. And any experience you go through is only truly a failure if you didn't learn anything from it. Be able to objectively observe and analyze what happened, what went wrong, what could be changed, and come out of it knowing how you're going to proceed moving forward. What will you do differently the next time? And speaking of trophies, clean out the trophy room of failures. Learn whatever lessons are to be learned, and then clear them out, get rid of them. Just like you would take the garbage out of your house, clean the garbage out of your mind. Let those old failures go. I really like journaling, just like your self-talk, your negative self-talk, writing it down. Maybe spend some time writing down all of the trophies you have created to your past failures. The beauty of writing something down is you get it out of your mind and onto paper. And then you can destroy that paper in the most creative, meaningful way. You can burn it. You can shred it. You can hike to a mountain peak and leave it under a rock. But cement in your mind that it's gone. It will no longer take up any more of your time or energy. Let it go. And because we're human, from time to time, we may find our thoughts, we may find the beginning of a negative statement or returning to an old negative memory. But thoughts can be stopped and immediately replaced with something more positive. Refer to books like this for a suggestion of positive thoughts to use instead. And once you've got your failure trophy room cleaned out, build up the trophy room of achievements. Recognize when you've done well. Accept it. Do that gesture that cements it in your mind and helps you remember this. And keep moving through that cycle. The 4 C's. That was a powerful visualization. And do not let the break of negative self-talk hold you back. So I hope this helped. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to help. Just
That was,
connect.
That was fantastic, Emmalou. Thank you so much.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
And
No,
they
that was
me through Coach's Corner, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, they can absolutely go ahead and do that. Wonderful presentation as always, Emmalou. Thank you so much. It makes it so simple, so concise, so easy to understand. And like you said, we're building a movement here, one session at a time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.